What's up, garden nerds? Today we're gonna nerd out over the pomegranate tree. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Come on, let's go. What's up, guys? Today we are here in front of my pomegranate tree. This is my oldest and biggest pomegranate tree. I have about 4 of them, I think, because I love pomegranates. They are a perfect tree if you're a beginner or if you're someone that doesn't like fussy trees that take a lot of care. Pomegranates are your tree because they're very simple and easy to grow, and they grow very fast. So what do I love about pomegranates? Well, the first thing is in Arizona, it is hot and it is sunny. Most trees don't like that hot and sunny climate, but pomegranates, they love it. So when you're looking for a place in your yard to plant your pomegranate tree, you want to find the hottest and the sunniest place in your yard, and that's where you want to place your pomegranate tree. Don't worry about it. It can handle the full Arizona sun or any hot desert climate sun. If you plant it in the shade, it'll probably survive, but it's not going to grow very fast. It's not going to grow very big, and it's not going to give you lots of pomegranates. So the first piece of advice that I'll give you is find the hottest and sunniest place in your yard, and that's where you want to plant your pomegranate. There's not many trees like that in hot desert climates, so pomegranate is your tree for those locations. Also, when you're trying to figure out where to plant your pomegranate tree, it's important to figure out and realize how big it's going to get. So pomegranates are typically bushes. That's how they want to grow, but they will grow up to 10, 15, 20 feet tall if you let them, and they'll grow as wide as 8 feet. So they can grow very big if you allow them. So make sure you know when you're planning how big they're gonna get so that you don't put them too close to any other tree. Now, like I said, they do like to grow as bushes. That's their natural growth habit. However, some people do it, and I've kind of done it with this one. If you look in here, I've trained it to have 2 or 3 main branches that are coming up, and then I let it branch out into a bush above that. So you can do that. You can have it, train it into one main trunk to where it grows up and it looks like an actual tree. That takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of patience, and it takes a lot of trimming, but it can be done. So I don't like to trim it up too much down there, but I trim it up enough to where it's not a full bush. But you can trim it however you want, but it will grow naturally as a bush, and it will continue to send up shoots from the ground and be bushy if you allow it to. You want to trim it every winter. So it's a deciduous tree, which means it's going to lose its leaves every winter. Once it loses its leaves is when I come in here and I just hack the crap out of this pomegranate tree because I don't want it to get too big. So I very destructively hack this thing and cut it. One piece of advice, you cannot hurt it by trimming it too much. The only possible damage that you're gonna do if you trim it too much in the winter is you'll limit the fruit set the next year. So I really trim this thing back. Usually I have like 100 pomegranates on this thing, but you can tell this year I don't have a lot. I have some up here, I have some over here, but not a lot. And that is because I trimmed this tree a lot during the winter. But that's okay. I knew that by trimming it so much, I wouldn't get so much fruit this year. This coming winter, I still am going to trim it, but not nearly as heavy, and I'll end up with a lot more fruit. So don't be afraid to trim it however you want. Just know if you trim it too much, your fruit set for next year won't be as great. So speaking of fruit, how quickly after planting a pomegranate tree are you gonna get fruit? Well, one thing to know is that pomegranate trees grow actually very quickly. So when you're going to the nursery to buy your tree, a lot of times, like with mango trees and other things, I say the bigger tree you can buy initially, the better. But with things like pomegranate trees, honestly, you can buy the $10 little tree and plant it, and it's gonna grow so fast that you won't notice that big of a difference if you were to buy a bigger one. So save your money on the pomegranate tree, plant the smaller one, and let it grow. Now back to the fruit question. After a year, you're gonna get a few pieces of fruit. After 2 years, you're gonna get even more. After 3 years, you're gonna be getting a ton of fruit. So this is something that is almost instant gratification. As soon as you plant it, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you're gonna have tons of pomegranate fruit on it. Let's talk about watering your pomegranate tree. So like I mentioned, pomegranate trees are perfect for hot desert climates because they love the sun and they love the heat. They are also perfect for hot desert climates because they don't need that much water. As long as you're deep watering the pomegranate tree once a week. Remember, deep watering does not mean drip emitters. It doesn't mean spraying it down with a hose every week, it means either bubblers or your actual physical garden hose, putting it down and letting the water slowly trickle out for over the course of a long period of time. When we water all fruit trees, we're trying to get the water to slowly go down deep into the ground. The deeper the water goes, the deeper the roots go. The deeper the roots are, the happier they are, the cooler they are. The hot desert sun cannot get to the roots. So we want to deep water this guy once a week, and that is it. All right, so a word of caution when it comes to watering. You don't want to water too much, and you want to keep the watering consistent. You don't want it to be sporadic. You don't want to give it tons of water one day and then not a little bit of water for a few days and then suddenly hit it again. Because what that does, if you're not watering consistently, then the fruit will actually split open, and it will split open prematurely, and you'll ruin the fruit. So honestly, when the monsoons come and it starts to rain a lot, I limit and I watch the water that I give it, because if it's getting enough water from the monsoons, it doesn't need water from me, because if it gets that monsoon moisture and my own watering, the fruit is going to split. So be very cautious when it comes to watering. You do not want to over pomegranates because you will ruin the fruit. Okay, speaking of destroying your fruit and hurting your fruit, there's something that's very important to be aware of when it comes to pomegranates, and a certain type of bug that loves to eat pomegranates, or that loves to hurt and destroy your pomegranate. It's the leaf-footed bug. They're horrible. I hate them. If you're not aware of this and if you don't take care of it, when it comes time to pick your fruit, you're gonna pick the pomegranate, you're gonna cut it open, you're gonna expect some juicy, awesome seeds, and instead you're gonna get dry, nasty seeds. You don't want that. So let's talk about what we can do to fix the problem of the leaf-footed bugs. What these bugs do is they actually go onto the pomegranate. They have long, skinny beaks. They stick that into the pomegranate and they suck all the juice out. So we have to stop that from happening. There's a few different ways that you can do that. So one of the ways that I have found, this wasn't my idea, I found this on some gardening site that showed this to me, but you can go and you can buy this white kaolin clay. This stuff is just like a powder. It's all natural and organic. That's about as much as I know. But essentially what you do is you can mix this into a used water bottle. I don't have a certain percentage. I just dump some powder in, then I mix it with water. And then what you do is you go and you spray it all over the pomegranates. And what that does is it creates this kind of mask, this covering over the pomegranates. And that has seemed to stop the leaf-footed bugs from wanting to jump on the pomegranates and suck it out. I think that covering on it of clay, again, it's all natural, it's organic, so you're not hurting the pomegranate, but I think that natural covering stops them from being able to put their beak into the pomegranate. And then what I do after that is I will take organza bags, or I will take a paper bag and I'll cover that as well. So one thing of caution though, when it rains, that clay will kind of come off, so you have to constantly be squirting the pomegranates to stop them from hurting your fruit. But that is a constant struggle, and if you're not aware of it, you will have that problem and you will not be happy when it comes time to pick your fruit and eat it. So make sure you're aware of that. There's probably other remedies to take care of it. You can Google them, but that's how I do it, and that's what I've seen to work the best. One thing that I did not realize until it was too late is there are many, many, many different kinds of pomegranates. This is a wonderful pomegranate tree. It's probably the most popular variety, but honestly, it is my least favorite variety. It doesn't seem to do as good in the hot desert climate of Arizona like other varieties do. The seeds tend to be a little drier. The leaf-footed bugs tend to get to them a little bit easier. I just don't like the wonderful variety as much. So my advice to you is search out those other varieties, and they're around nurseries here, but search out those other varieties and go for those. Don't go for the one that's commercially produced like the wonderful pomegranate. Go for some cool varieties. There's even a couple white varieties where the juice and the seeds are actually white and they're a little bit sweeter. So there's tons of possibilities when it comes to different varieties of pomegranates. So don't go with the boring, wonderful variety. Go with a cool, unique, even better tasting variety. You'll be happy you did. Another question that people has when it comes to the fruit is, do I need 2 types of pomegranates to make it fruit? The answer is no. They're self-fertile. You really only need one and you're gonna be just fine. Two isn't gonna give you more fruit production. So with one single pomegranate, you're gonna be fine and you're gonna get just as much fruit as if you had 2 or 3 or 4, which you should because they're awesome, easy trees to grow, but with just one, you're gonna get plenty of fruit. And then the last question, when does the fruit ripen? A lot of people see the pomegranate, it turns red and they think, oh, this is awesome. It's August or September and they think the pomegranate is ready to go. They cut it open and it's dry, it's not ripe. In Arizona and in other hot climates, right around Thanksgiving is when the pomegranates start to ripen, which is awesome because you can include them in your Thanksgiving dinner as a dressing or whatever. I turned it into juice, cranberry sauce. There's lots of cool things you can do right around Thanksgiving, right around the holidays with the pomegranates. So I usually don't even try and mess with it until it is Thanksgiving. In other cooler varieties, not so hot, as we are here in Phoenix, around the end of October, around Halloween is when they'll start to ripen. But usually not until Thanksgiving. So be patient and you'll be happy you did. All right, and something that we always need to talk about because we always forget about it is, we talked about water, but fruit trees require more than water. What do you feed with? What do you fertilize with? Well, like I always talk about, we need something that is organic, composted chicken manure, worm castings, worm tea, mulch that can break down. You need to feed. If you're not feeding your pomegranate tree, the fruit is not gonna be as juicy, it's not gonna be as good, the tree is not gonna grow as well. So make sure you're constantly feeding with organic stuff your tree, and your tree will be happy you did, and you'll be happy you did when you pick your pomegranates and they taste awesome. All right guys, so as you can tell, I love pomegranate trees. This was one of the very first fruit trees that I planted and I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't feed it. I put it in the middle of a rock. The rock is gone now. I didn't water it properly and it still grew. So if you're trying to find a tree that is good for beginners, this is it. Go find yourself a pomegranate tree. Go find yourself a cool variety of pomegranate and plant it. You'll be happy you did. Thanks as always guys for watching my YouTube video. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Please like the video, please share it with your friends. And as always, comment below what other fruit trees you would like me to talk about. I only talk about fruit trees that I have experience with personally and that I'm growing in my own backyard. So if I have the tree, I'm more than happy to do a video and show you and tell you my experience. Thanks guys, we'll talk to you in the next video.